Hello, my name is Ryan Gottfredson, and I'm the Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of the books Success Mindsets and The Elevated Leader. And I've got a question for you. I'm curious if you have ever felt stuck, or even do you feel stuck now? I know I've been there, and it's been completely frustrating to be in this place where you have these desires, these dreams, these aspirations, but you just don't feel like you're making much progress towards those. What's going on? Why is this? And what can we do to get unstuck? I want to answer these questions, but I'm going to frame it up in a different way. Because what I've learned is if we want to become unstuck, what message the universe is giving us is that we aren't yet who we need to be. And if we want to get unstuck, we need to become something better. We need to rise up. We need to rise above. Yet, how do we do this? And how should we think about it? And how could we do it most effectively? Well, I'm going to unpack a framework that I think will open your eyes and help you to elevate your strategy for getting unstuck and getting closer to your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. And to get into this, let me show you this figure here. We've got this figure where it is identifying that there's two different sides of ourselves. We've got on the horizontal axis here what I call our doing side. This represents our level of talent, knowledge, skills, and abilities. But we've also got another side of ourselves, which I'm going to call our being side. Now, I'm going to define this for you here in just a minute, but even before I do that, what do you think if we attempt to improve ourselves, develop ourselves, which of these two sides do you think we tend to focus on the most? Well, it's our doing side. Think about our educational system, our athletic programs, our organizational development efforts. Almost all of this is primarily focused on improving our doing side. And this can be helpful, but what I've found for myself, this is only incrementally helpful, and it doesn't help me get unstuck. If we want to get unstuck and transformationally become better, we've got to focus on this other side, our being side. So let me define this for you. This is the degree to which our body and our internal operating system is wired for value creation as opposed to self-protection. You see, if we're feeling stuck, it's probably because we are holding on a little bit too tightly to some self-protective tendencies that's holding us back from our dreams, goals, and aspirations. I want to walk you through a couple of examples to help you to feel into how one's body can be wired for self-protection versus value creation. Here's example number one. How do most people respond to constructive criticism? Well, most people respond negatively or they get defensive. Well, why would somebody ever get defensive at constructive criticism? What does that say about how they make meaning of their world? Well, it suggests that they make meaning of their world as an attack. And if we make meaning of that as an attack, then we're going to get defensive. But is that self-protective or value creating? That's really self-protective. It's justifiable, but it's self-protective. And it's going to be something that holds us back. The next level up might be, this might be an attack, and therefore it depends on who delivers it and how they deliver it, right? If my boss delivers it tactfully, great. But if my spouse doesn't deliver it tactfully, she is sleeping on the couch, right? And that feels a little bit more cognitively and emotionally sophisticated, but still there's some self-protective tendencies. What about this option? What if we were to see constructive criticism as an opportunity to learn and grow? That we have this ability to create space to sit with the constructive criticism, even if it is with our worst enemy who is malintended. Because maybe there's something about what they're saying that could help us and to help us get unstuck. If we could create that space to explore this constructive criticism, we're going to be more likely to embrace it or harness it for our benefit. Now, as you look at these different options from the bottom to the top, what is most self-protective and what is most value creating? Well, the people who tend to get more defensive, they're more self-protective, and that's justifiable again. But here's a question that you need to ask yourself. What dictates your response to constructive criticism? Is it your conscious rational reaction? or is it your automatic non-conscious processing? It's generally our automatic non-conscious processing that is driving the system. That's our internal operating system. So you've got to ask yourself, is your internal operating system wired for self-protection or value creation? Let me give you another example. This comes from coaching my son's basketball team. So he's 9 years old. He's not very good, neither of any of his players. But I'm in a position to help them to develop. So one of the things that I encourage my players to do, now they're all right-handed, so I encourage my players when we're doing layup lines to try a layup when they're on the left side of the hoop, to try to shoot that with their left hand. It's a pretty essential skill for basketball. And I get 3 different responses to this. The first response is the players don't even try, whether it's in practice or in the game. Well, why wouldn't they try? Well, it's because it feels uncomfortable to use their offhand, they're going to look goofy, and they're probably going to miss their shot. Okay, that's some justifiable reasoning, but is that self-protective or value-creating? Self-protective, right? What about the second response that I get is that they are willing to try in practice, but not in the games. Well, why wouldn't they try in the games? Well, now the pressure's on. They don't want to let their team down. Their parents are recording them for the rest of their posterity to see, right? And so in that moment, in the heat of the game, they're not as willing to try. So while they're a little bit more value creating in the sense that they're developing in practice, they are self-protective during the game. But the third response that I get is I get players that are willing to try in practice and in the game. They have this capacity to be okay with feeling uncomfortable, with looking awkward, and missing their shots in both practice and in the game. And here's the reason why, is because they inherently know, again, I don't think this is conscious, they inherently know that if I can develop these skills earlier as opposed to later, I'm going to be able to create the most value for myself and my team in the long term. These are the players who have an internal operating system that is wired more for value creation as opposed to self-protection. And again, do you think my players' responses are cognitive, rational processing? No. These are non-conscious, automatic reactions. Now, this hopefully gets you to wonder, how are you wired? What is your internal operating system wired to do? To move towards self-protection or to move towards value creation? Now, if you are stuck, it is suggesting that you have some wiring that is wired for self-protection. And we've all got it. I've got it. We've all got it. But the question is not just whether you have it. Are you awakened to it? And are you doing something about it? Because if you can do something about it, that's your key to getting unstuck. So you've got to focus on your being side. Now, I've got a bunch of resources on my website, ryangottfredson.com. I've got a couple of books out that are touching on these topics, but I've got a new book coming out. It's not for a while, not until May of 2025. But the topic or the title of the book is Becoming Better: The Groundbreaking Science of Personal Transformation. And this is at the root of it. So if you like this, follow me for more videos. Go to my website, ryangottfredson.com. Sign up for my weekly newsletter and would love to help you better understand these principles. Thanks for tuning in.